What's up, everybody? Is this thing on? I'm here to talk some NFL free agency. Today we're gonna hang out a little bit, talk some football, have some fun. Looks like I'm streaming. Alright, did not make an event this time just because it's easier to just stream whenever I get things ready. So, how's everyone doing today? We're gonna talk free agency, play a little, this will be fun. While I talk NFL free agency, I'll play some NBA 2K. Ignore that for now. Also ignore the fact that Antonio Brown's in the thumbnail because he was traded, not signed as a free agent. Although he essentially turned himself into a free agent by telling the Steelers see ya with multiple years left on the contract. So, Antonio Brown, de facto free agent, now an Oakland Raider. How's everyone doing? Anthony Barr, the former Jet, back in Minnesota. Oh, man. Yeah, that's going to happen. None of this is official. This is the way news works now. Nothing's official. We get reports, opinions, and everything else prior to anything being official. No pen to paper, but in the case of sports, it's super entertaining. Overreactions, underreactions, excitement, disgust. The full spectrum of emotions are on display here in NFL free agency. It is a beautiful time of year. Suggs to Arizona. That's right. He played college at Arizona State. I could not believe he's actually leaving the Ravens. That's going to be really weird to see him down there. I assumed like he's been in the league this long. I'm assuming his money's right, but to see him go to a different team is just really odd. I'll be checking over the cap and a lot of stuff here as you guys want to talk about different stuff. So I am streaming a little 2K here. I asked what gameplay you wanted as I stream this, and obviously I wanted it to be a laid-back deal. So baseball doesn't work because I have to hone in on every little pitch. But this is the series I'm doing on my second channel here with the San Diego Surf. And I am trying to get better at 2K. And a lot of you are like, play 2K, you gotta get better. This is garbage. So, yeah. I'm here to play some NBA 2K. How do you like the sound of that? Frederick Wilcox. Oh, man. And also, there's no shot clock, so I can just put the controller down and just deal with it whenever I feel like it. Like right now. Alright. This is gonna be fun. Let's see. I don't normally do the streaming like this on YouTube. I normally make an event, make a big deal out of it. But I don't know. The stream now feature is kind of useful when you just want to go live. It's not a huge deal, but you also don't want like a time constraint. So I guess I can't be late if there was never a scheduled time. I have beat the game. Come on, Kane, I'm in school and you start a stream. Welcome to class. Detroit got Trey Flowers and Amendola, that's right. Couple ex-Patriots there to join Matt Patricia. Those defensive fronts in the NFC North are looking pretty nice. Packers making some moves today for sure. They've made some of the biggest splashes so far, getting Zadarius Smith. Preston Smith, who I thought was a bargain. I think I'd rather have Preston Smith than Zadarius Smith. And they also signed Billy Turner and Adrian Amos. So big moves in Green Bay. They are not normally free agent participants, but now with Ted Thompson no longer at GM, they have decided to make an appearance. Bartolo or Zion? What, Bartolo Colon or Zion Williamson? Is that the debate? D-Jack's back with Philly. I love the move for them. They could definitely use a downfield field stretcher, and Jackson can still do that. Jackson's one of the best deep threats in the NFL the last couple decades. I think after Randy Moss, it's a hard debate over who's actually been a very good deep threat. Megatron I'd have to look at the numbers to see how much deep threat work he did. I'd say that, you know, Megatron, better receiver than Deshaun Jackson. But as far as maybe a pure deep threat, you know, I don't think anyone's in D-Jax's class. And those that are have not stuck around as long as he has. Foles to Jacksonville. Yeah, at about $22 million a season. That's, I think, a fair number. It's not breaking the bank. It's not record setting. And also, like, we're getting numbers in years right now, but we don't know the guaranteed money or the structure of contracts, so everything can change. Thank you, Tyler, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Where do you think Bell is landing? Well, what is his, was that an album or a mixtape he's dropping? It's referencing, something about a gamble. I didn't actually pay that much attention, but it could be he ends up in Las Vegas, aka the Oakland Raiders. I know some people said that, you know, Mark Davis doesn't have enough money or doesn't have the funds on hand to put in escrow for the guaranteed contracts. People said the same thing last year about Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, that the Wilfs didn't have enough or didn't have the liquid money to put into escrow. I think someone's leaking the same BS in back-to-back years. Yeah, Jordan Hicks to the Cardinals. They need a lot of work, though. The Cardinals were one of the worst offenses in NFL history last year. Last in points per game, last in rushing, last in passing. They were awful. And they got to make some moves on the offensive side. I know they've got Marcus Gilbert, who has had some injury struggles, so that's by no means enough to solve their problems. They had one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history a year ago. They got to make some moves. Devin Funchess to the Colts. Yep, 1 year prove-it deal. They have the money for it, so they might overpay. Like, here's the thing. Overpaying doesn't always matter. Overpaying matters when it handcuffs you from doing other things. If a team has $100 million in cap space, they're probably not going to use it all. You can count on teams going into the season with like 20, 30, $40 million in cap space. And at that point, who cares if someone's overpaid? They're not hurting the team. You know, they're not keeping you from making moves. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Hopefully we don't drop too many frames today. I'm going to work on a couple things that should make things a little easier. Every time I drop frames, I'm going to refresh the webcam here because I've noticed in the past that when I do have frame drops, that's what causes, or that's coinciding with my my syncing getting out of sync, you could say. Carlos Hyde to Kansas City. Thoughts? You know, not a bad move. I'm a Hyde guy, but he hasn't really, you know, reached that ceiling. I've still liked Carlos Hyde because I think that he's still going to get better from here. You know, the move to Jacksonville didn't work out. I thought it would. I was excited about the Hyde move because I thought Fournette was going to miss more time. But when Fournette came back and there were still a handful of games remaining, I'm like, okay, the Hyde move makes a lot less sense now. I thought they were trying to save the season and Fournette was like done, but they couldn't, you know, run the ball with much success last year anyway. So moot point, waste of a trade. Looks like I got a super chat here from Pedro. Thoughts on Raiders moving up to #1 for Murray? Well, the first thing you have to worry about there is, do the Cardinals want him? And in that case, they would not trade. So if the Cardinals do trade #1, you can tell they don't want Kyler Murray. I mean, that's what I would think. But, you know, if the Raiders want to take a shot, you got all these first-round picks. They're going to have, what, 2 first-round picks next year, too? If they draft Murray and it doesn't work out, like, they're still going to be in good shape to maybe try again. Or there could be a veteran on the market. Or they could stick with Derek Carr. But right now, I think that if I had to pick where Kyler Murray is going to end up, I think I'd actually say Arizona, just because it's so easy to come out and say, Josh is our quarterback. We're going to stick with him. We love what we have with him. He's been great in the locker room. The team loves him. They haven't done that. All they've done is that, you know, talk where they're non-committal. And it's like, why wouldn't you commit? He was your first round pick last year. You traded up for him. He was a rookie quarterback. There's nothing to gain going this route. So it's awful strange of them. Oh yeah, I will play. It's kind of like a little podcast of sorts, I guess. Gonna do a lot of talking, but I guess I could do a little bit of gameplay action as well. Trying to get better at 2K, obviously. Have a little bit more content to bring to the channel. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to get better at like dribble moves and everything else, but it's a major work in progress. Oh, I guess he already dribbled. But okay, ignore that. Super chat, or maybe it wasn't a super chat, but it was a question I wanted to answer. Oh no, it was a super chat from Deathly Meme. What do you think of the Broncos free agency so far? Jawan James. I think that was a good move for them. They've needed some offensive line work for a while. You know, big contract, nothing too surprising there. So, you know, that'll be a step in the right direction for them. But I still wonder, you know, if they address quarterback at all in this draft. I don't think they can just be content with Flacco this year. Then they trade Case Keenum. So I don't know what else they want to do, but it's a good first step. If they made any other moves, I guess I should follow a tracker here because there's a lot of moving parts here in free agency. Let me just get situated here a little bit better. I think Elway is happy with Flacco somehow. You might be right, actually. You know, Elway hasn't been the best judge of quarterbacks throughout his time as the guy calling the shots with the Broncos. I mean, obviously, anybody can have Peyton Manning fall into their laps and have success, but then you go to Brock Osweiler, and he wanted to sign Osweiler to big money, and then he went to Houston. After that, you draft Paxton Lynch. He throws all of like 100 passes before you give up on him. Now you trade for Flacco. You can tell he has a type. Big pocket passer, the prototype of 20 years ago. These guys are no longer modern day prototypes. You need mobility to be a modern day prototype. Aaron Rodgers can run. Andrew Luck can run. Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, all the quarterbacks that have come into the league recently, for the most part, have some running success or ability. It's not a must, but you can tell he's kind of stuck with an old prototype that he prefers. But yeah, Anthony Barr is kind of the big topic of the last hour or so. It looked like he had a deal done with Jets. It was going to be a very lucrative one to go and be an every down edge rusher, which I expected. I predicted he would become a Jet. And now, Dylan asks in the super chat, how do I feel about Barr coming back? Any thoughts on Green Bay's revamped defense? With Barr coming back, you know, I've been pretty lukewarm on Barr for a while now. I don't think that he's been as good as he should be, and I think that we've seen his better play, you know, more so a couple of years ago than recent. Definitely not a bad player by any means, but I think he'd be better as a more regular pass rusher and to do that more. So with him coming back to the Vikings, I want to see what kind of a role he has. I want to know if it's going to be the same thing or if he will rush the passer a bit more. I would hope he would. He's been very productive. If you like Pro Football Focus, he's been one of their more productive edge rushers on a per snap basis. He just doesn't really get a ton of snaps there. And there's potential that they end up moving Everson Griffin. So who knows if they have a deep plan in mind here with him edge rushing. But Green Bay, though, that boost to their defense is nice. They needed that. Their edge rush has needed some big help. They did not do well with the Nick Perry contract. Clay Matthews is old, so they get two Smiths this offseason. Preston Smith is one of my favorite players in this free agent class. And then Adrian Amos. I'm a big Amos guy as well. Hopefully some news happens here while I'm streaming and we can talk about it. That would be fun. Also, the Adrian Amos deal, pretty team friendly from what I'm seeing so far. Honey Badger to KC thoughts. Well, one of the weird things there is that I saw that he might actually, you know, Honey Badger's going to be there, but they might get rid of Eric Berry. So that to me is like, whoa. I think, no, anybody getting Honey Badger is a great deal. He can play slot, he can play safety. He's one of my favorite players. So anybody that signs him, I'm going to be excited for them. But it's like, if they get Matthew and they get rid of Barry, then how much of a net positive is it? Seems like a little bit less in that case. Hopefully they don't get rid of Eric Berry. Hey, look at that. I did a good thing. Bortles to New England? I don't know, Dak. I'm not sure that Belichick would want to deal with Bortles. And, you know, I don't think that he's their type of quarterback. They look for higher efficiency. They want guys who can accurately distribute the football, mostly on short intermediate passes, and I don't think Bortles fits that for them. I think Bortles will be a good backup for the next decade or so, and then when someone gets hurt, you know, Bortles is going to come in and he'll do all right, and we'll get excited again. So that'll be pretty fun. Bortles will be a nice backup. Yeah, I have to work on Cullen for screens, obviously. I could see Keenum to New England after Brady retires. I mean, he would fit as a New England backup. Honestly, if they made a trade for Rosen, it wouldn't shock me. If Rosen was to be dealt. Any moves the Dolphins should make? You know, they re-signed. They got a deal done for Devontae Parker. Oh man, the Dolphins offseason that I couldn't have myself. I think if I were the Dolphins, I would take a look at some of these edge rushers, defensive linemen that are available, although the draft is strong in that regard. But I think that they're kind of also want to move on from Ryan Tannehill. So, you know, when you need a quarterback, it's hard to focus on anything else until you fill that spot. Could still use another weapon on offense, too. They did lose Jawan James, so that hurts their offensive line. I wouldn't say it was particularly strong to begin with. What moves do you think my Giants should make? They should get rid of Eli and replace him. And then beyond that, I'd say that they still have to work on linebacker like they do every offseason. I know they got Alec Ogletree, but I don't think Ogletree's like a really high-level player or anything. So I would work on linebacker for them. Secondary a little bit. That got worse with Landon Collins going to Washington. Giants got a lot of work to do overall outside of those key stars they have. They have a nice nucleus, but you need a young quarterback to grow along with them. Oh boy. What are you doing there? An offensive line, you know, like almost every team in the NFL needs a long offensive line. Did not do a very good pick and roll there. I'm only half paying attention though. I'm really more focused on free agency. I wanted this just to be a chill hangout stream, have some fun. I really like doing these kinds of streams where it's not really a high gameplay emphasis. We just kind of hang out and talk. Although, this weekend, you can count on seeing some Kalispell basketball. We're going to College Hoops 2K8 here during March Madness season, and we're going to do a little bit of Kalispell basketball. I'm not sure if it's going to be a huge, long-running series, but I'm going to give it a shot. I really want to get more of a basketball presence here on the channels, and I'm doing that so far with the San Diego Surf. Getting destroyed here by my backups. Ignore that part. Also just kind of experimenting with some different stuff, but either way, I'm not very good at 2K. But I do like it. When you can enjoy a game that you're not good at, that's a sign of a good game, I think. Yeah, I'm happy with Anthony Barr. I wouldn't say I'm like elated or anything, but I'm hoping that they use him more as an edge rusher. Really surprising situation though. Do you like my Raiders' aggressive approach? For sure. I mean, you got all these assets. Use them. Make the big moves. They got the most expensive offensive line deal done with Trent Brown. They got Antonio Brown. They are probably in the mix for some other high-level free agents, but they got to get some edge rush. If they don't land Kyler Murray, I think right now I'd probably project them to get someone like Josh Allen out of Kentucky. I watched some Josh Allen last weekend, I think, and wow, he's really fun to watch. Josh Allen's going to be a really good pro, and if he didn't have like Bosa and Williams in this class, I think Josh Allen would be in conversations for the first overall pick. So Raiders have a chance to boost the pass rush that only had 13 sacks last season, but they should get more than one. Yeah, Josh Allen's a stud. He's really, really fun. He's a freaky athlete. How invisible is this right now? You know, I dropped this the other week, and now it sits at an angle. It's not broken, but it is annoying. As a Bucks fan, I'm upset losing some of our players, but I can't understand why. Yeah, Quan Alexander, I would put him in the kind of good but not great category. I think he's a very fine player, you know. He's the kind of player that normally a team is like, we don't want to give him huge money, and then he gets a huge money from a team who has a little bit more space. Classic free agency trope. So that's a big, it's still a big get for the 49ers. They had, who was their rookie last year I liked? Fred Warner. So that'll help them out. They had 2 interceptions last year as a defense. I bet Quan Alexander can help them there a little bit. How was my trip to San Diego? San Diego was great. I wear shorts every day. Any day I can wear shorts, can't be that bad of a day. The weather was awesome. The food was great. San Diego is one of my favorite big cities to visit. Thoughts on Paul Allen from K-Fan? I love Paul Allen. He's been one of my biggest inspirations here in my commentary game. Obviously, I do a lot of play-by-play stuff, and I think he's been maybe the greatest influence. I think Allen is the type of play-by-play commentator every home market should have. Someone who is a fan of the team, passionate about the team, but can still do commentary in an objective fashion and doesn't just, you know, phone it in when the team isn't doing well. You know, I've watched like Hawk Harrelson call stuff for the White Sox, and yeah, watch walk-off home runs or like compilations of him calling walk-off home runs for the other team. The guy's practically asleep half the time. That's no fun. So I like his commentary style a lot. He's exactly what I think home market commentators should be. Yeah, that's a lot of money to John Brown and Cole Beasley. To me, the Bills overpaid, but they're desperate. Desperate teams overpay. That's what they do. But Beasley's a good route runner. John Brown is a good deep threat. I know John Brown, he began the season strong last season. What kind of numbers has he put up? I feel like he still struggled with staying on the field. He had 715 yards last year for one of the most run-heavy offenses in the entire league. That's pretty good production. And he actually has stayed healthier than I thought. I must be thinking of J.J. Nelson, because Brown's only missed a handful of games throughout his time in his entire career. So the Bills have a couple deep threats now. They had a lot of success last year with Robert Foster. Thoughts on Quinn and Williams? I think if I had to make a board right now, Williams would be the #1 player on my board over Nick Bosa. I just don't see any negatives. You know, the only thing with Bosa is the injury stuff. So I mean, you have one who can be a dynamic edge rusher, one who's going to be an amazing 3-tech. I'll just split the difference there with durability. Although it's like 1A and 1B. It doesn't really matter who's ranked higher. I will make a mock draft. Yes, I make one every year. They're usually bad. But last year, I nailed quarterbacks. Didn't I have the quarterbacks go into the correct teams? I know I had trade-ups for Rosen, trade-ups for Jackson. I forget if I nailed the teams. Someone's going to have to remember, because I can't. But I think I might have nailed the quarterbacks. Or maybe I didn't. Sportsfan 98. Kind of hope the Giants make moves like the Zeitler trade, but I don't have a lot of faith in Gettleman. Also, Stephen A. Smith called Tressway a quarterback. I saw that clip. Oh, man. Stephen A. has got an interesting soundbite every week in the NFL. And yeah, Zeitler, that's a good move. They got to get offensive line help. I thought that was a pretty good trade for them. Obviously, the Vernon deal hasn't worked out super well, but they've still got to work on their defense. It's still kind of a mess. And they've only lost so far in terms of talent. Thomas Davis leaving Carolina for the Chargers. Yep, like that move for them. I think that while he's not the player he once was, he and Denzel Perryman can be their inside backers, and that's a tandem I'd trust. Just playing around. Miles, Ogunjobi, Sheldon, Vernon. Yeah, it's pretty filthy. A lot of guys who are going to benefit from having a bunch of good players around them. Ogunjobi really good last season. Myles Garrett living up to the #1 pick status. Let me try to get a basket this time. Not that I wasn't trying before. I'm just awful at this game. Oh, I was wanting to call something. I throw a lot of picks on the pick and roll. I put the pick and roll. Just a different kind of pick, you know? But yeah, mock draft season's always fun, and now I've started including like trades in mine, so I think it's even more enjoyable. I always do predict the pick on NFL.com and get a group together, and usually, you know, a couple hundred of you do better than I do, so it's always fun. There we go. Is that better? Leveling up my pick and roll from a 54 overall to a 55. Top quarterback in the draft, in your opinion? You know, I haven't really done a deep dive on the quarterbacks much, but I think if I had to pick right now, I'd go Dwayne Haskins. I feel that, I don't know, there's just a lot of risk with Kyler Murray. I'll have to watch some more games, though. I did watch, you know, when I did watch last year, it was usually the high-profile game, so I have seen Kyler Murray play a few times. But I just don't think I'm going to be sold on him over Haskins. We'll see. I know watching, I was watching Josh Allen from Kentucky against Missouri, and in that game, like, Drew Lock really impressed me. So now I'm wondering how good Lock is. I'll have to watch some more of him, too. Gameplay sliders for the Cards franchise are default all pro. I don't edit stuff there. Next Twins episode, probably Thursday. There's a chance it could be tomorrow, but I'm going to be doing another stream tomorrow. No, I'm not super familiar with Brian Burns yet, Joe. I'm going to have to crunch a lot of prospects here between now and the draft. I don't always watch, like, the top guys, too. I like to watch some of the players that don't get a lot of talk, just because I enjoy that more for some reason. So what was I doing the other night? Watching Tyree Jackson, and then watching Devine Ozigbo, running back out of Nebraska, who I think actually could be a really interesting player in this draft. Ozigbo. I think I said his name wrong. Ozigbo He's a big back, definitely more elusive and agile than you would expect at his size. But he's a modern day running back. He can catch the ball well, although he will drop it from time to time. They line him up at Nebraska at receiver every now and then. So I think Divino Zigbo will be a nice find for somebody. He didn't play a whole lot, but he was productive last season. I would throw a pick in NHL 19. Lift it off the ground. Someone would catch it. I have seen some David Montgomery, but I watched him more so like beginning of the season. I watched the first game. I'm not sure if it was the first game they played, but I remember Iowa State. I did watch that. I have seen Blake Cashman, yes, in some Minnesota games. He does stand out. A lot of people like him now after his good combine. DK Metcalf is another combine warrior with huge expectations that isn't going to live up to the former said huge expectations. We'll have to see. I mean, if anybody won the combine, it was him. Where do you guys think Le'Veon Bell is going to go, though? Where do you think Bell ends up? There are a lot of teams that could afford him, but the big contract given to a running back is always a risk. So where do you think he goes? Any good under-the-radar DBs you've watched? I don't think yet. Like I said, super late getting into this stuff. I'll get there. I'll get there. I know last year I had a few guys that I liked. Nick Nelson, who I think graded out pretty poorly for the Raiders. But I'll get my draft opinions on point over the next month. I can do free agency a bit better right now. Benny Snell, Kentucky. I'm not a huge fan, though. Not a huge fan. I don't think he has the elusiveness and the change of direction. I think Snell will be, you know, a nice rotational back, but I don't think that he will really be one of the backs that get in this class. Yeah, Ravens targeting Mark Ingram. I think Ingram's a really good player. Gus Edwards had a really good season with them a year ago. So Edwards and Ingram would be a very good pair. I think Edwards can even catch the ball. They both could. The Ravens use like 48 running backs, so I forget how much everybody did of what. I know Kenneth Dixon catches the ball a lot. Edwards, does he catch the ball? I know they had Ty Montgomery, they had Alex Collins. He does not catch the ball, so getting Ingram makes even more sense. They threw it to him. He caught two balls last year, but he was also on the field as like he was also out there with Kenneth Dixon, Ty Montgomery, who caught all the balls. So that's the way it goes. Why isn't my channel growing faster? I'm not doing as much content on this channel right now. Not really doing anything that's super trendy. So my second channel is growing more than this channel at the moment. I know the Packers are obviously your favorite team, but how do you feel about them already signing 4 players? As a Viking fan, I think the Packers have made some really good moves so far, especially the Preston Smith one. Who would you take number 1 overall in fantasy? Number 1 player in fantasy right now, not knowing where Bell ends up. I might go Ezekiel Elliott this year. I don't know. I took Todd Gurley last year, and he helped me win a fantasy championship for the first time in years. So, you know, gotta love Todd Gurley too. Saquon Barkley. Yeah, you could consider Barkley, of course. I would just defer to a running back who has a little bit better offensive line scenario. I'd take Barkley probably 3rd or 4th after guys who just have better lines, unless that changes. Jakey, thank you for the super chat. Have you heard of Taylor Rapp out of Washington? I have. I think Rapp's a hard hitter. I haven't never seen him play personally though. Other than Harrison Smith, is Adrian Amos the 2nd best safety in the North? I think Eddie Jackson would argue with that. Does a calzone count as a sandwich? No, it doesn't. Although, it's basically a pizza sandwich. Calzones get a bad rap, and I don't know why. Because here's the thing. A calzone's a perfect, like, single serving pizza-like item. Whereas pizzas are normally multi-person, or you end up with leftovers. If you just want to go out for pizza and you're by yourself, forever alone, you should get a calzone. They're very good. They are meant to be eaten by one person. They can be handheld. They can be eaten with a fork. I think calzones are good. You can put a bunch of stuff in it. Although I'll say I've had a lot more, like, underwhelming calzones than good ones. There's an art to it, and most fail at it. How much do you follow the NBA? Decent, not great. No, Hot Pockets and calzones are, ooh. I mean, a Hot Pocket is trying to be a calzone, but that's a stretch. Is bacon grilled cheese actually a melt? I think that it would classify as a melt. My favorite NBA team would be the Timberwolves, and they don't really give you a whole lot to cheer for, so. Yeah, you can change the pick and roll settings. I'm aware of that. Just normally the guys that are setting the pick aren't the ones that I want to end up taking a deep shot. What's Deadman's rating? He might be the guy to do that with. Give him the ball. See, C, 3-point, C, mid-range, you can get away with it. Pick and fade. Try liking the Hornets. You got Kemba. Yeah, Latavius Murray with the Saints. I think that they got him on a nice bargain. Murray was good with the Vikings. Obviously, with Kamara there, you want someone who complements him. And Murray can do more of the dirty work. He can be a battering ram. I don't know if he'll take a lot of red zone touches, but he is very good in the red zone. I think it's a very good fit in New Orleans. Hey, Becker, thank you for becoming a member here on the channel. Much appreciated. And by the way, members, if you're wondering when the next channel member stream is going to be, I would say 2 Saturdays from now. So not this weekend, but next. They make some strange passes, though, at times that I wonder how they don't get intercepted. That was a really strange shot. So the 23rd, if that's 2 Saturdays from now, yes. What's the name of the song you're using? I think this one's called Nimbus. It's in the YouTube audio library. I'm just trying to see what I can get away with some of these players. What game mode are you playing? I'm in my league, but I'm in scrimmage within my league. trying to get more familiar with 2K. You know, I want to have some more fun franchise experiences, and obviously with where Madden's at this year, I wanted to make it a priority to, you know, do something with this time that's useful. And I think that getting to know this game, perfect opportunity right now. I can't make a shot. Of course, my release isn't perfect at all, so. Le'Veon to the Jets. Oh, do we have news? Do we have news? I'm not seeing any news. Amari Cooper or Cooper Kupp? I would take Amari Cooper, although he wouldn't sign, so I have to settle for Kupp. Most of you will get that reference, I'm sure. You're not good at this game because you don't dribble. Is it my dribble moves that need the most work? Because I just don't know what moves I should be doing in that case. See, usually what I do with my moves is I just do a lot, and the CPU just watches me, and then it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but I'm gonna cover you now. So I'm not really sure what kind of moves are useful or what should be used. Like, I don't know what basketball looks like. That's the problem. I know what football is supposed to look like, but I don't really know what basketball is supposed to look like. I haven't made a shot in years. Try to always shoot not fading away or moving unless you have an elite shooter. Yeah, I know I shouldn't be doing that. My my ball handling, I think, is my worst skill so far. Got a super chat here. Thank you very much from JG Jam. Hey Kane, how do you feel about the Lions and their moves? I feel we may even push to take the NFC North, but that may be me just sipping on some of the Kool-Aid every other team is sipping right now. Yeah, I don't think that they'd be like a division. Well, I'm not saying they can't contend for it. I'm just saying that they'd have a long way to go still with the teams in front of them. They're good moves though. I mean, Amendola can play the slot. They're going to keep Jones and Galladay on the outside, so it's not a bad idea to get a guy who's really only a slot receiver. I think Kerryon Johnson is a really good running back. Stafford, you can win with Stafford as long as everything else is good. Defensively, getting Trey Flowers is a nice boost for them. You know, the Lions aren't always as bad. Their roster isn't always as bad as their team is, if that makes sense. I feel that they have talent, but they just keep losing sometimes. So, you know, they got a ways to go still, just based on the teams that they have to fight. The Bears are very good defensively. The Vikings have a good defense and a bunch of playmakers on offense. And the Packers have Aaron Rodgers and now an upgraded defense. So it's just a tough division to make progress in. Lions are re-signing Zach Zenner. There's a move for them. Jake, thank you for the super chat with the Packers pickups. And now we have mutual interest with Tyrell Williams. Please don't. You think we could be back on top of the North barring injury? Yeah, any year you have Aaron Rodgers healthy, you have a chance to win the North. I thought the Packers, you know, I wasn't surprised they were as bad as they were a year ago. They were relying on a bunch of guys in their first and second year at both corner and receiver to step up big time, and They just didn't get enough. I wasn't shocked at all that they had a bad season. Their defense was pretty atrocious, and they just didn't have enough reliable play from the young guys they were counting on, outside of like Jair Alexander. So, they've already gotten better. I doubt they're going to be worse this year. Wow, nice job, Tony Bradley. But I would be really upset if they got Tyrell Williams, because I think he's good and would be a huge boost to that team. He's a deep threat, and Rodgers knows how to utilize his deep threats better than most quarterbacks. Knows how to give him a shot, knows the right times to throw the risky ball, and then to limit the risk on that ball. I don't think the Colts have made any moves so far because they're mostly a team that wants to build through the draft right now, and they don't want to get stuck with bad contracts. They have a good team right now, and they're just not going to overextend themselves. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, I have thought about starting Jonah Bolden in here. He's actually been outperforming Chandler. The Trent Brown contract. That's the kind of deal that gets done here. A good lineman from a good team sets the record for offensive line money. Yeah, of course it's risky, but it's a move that's almost necessary to make if you want an upgrade, and they needed one bad. For defending, press your L2 button. It helps, and don't run around that much. Yeah, I'm only running around on defense because I'm trying to not get cut off by all the picks. Not trying to give up open shots and get destroyed by the pick and roll game. Yeah, I'm still watching the AAF, although not as much the last 2 weeks. I am keeping up with what's happening, though. Let me call a play. See what I can do here. Or no. Come on, Deadman. See, sometimes also I'm confused why players, like, I'm holding up for them to run, but they just kind of get stuck, and it's like, why are you stuck? You should be running into the paint right now, and you're ruining this. I've never been fully on board with a movement system in these 2K games. They're very animation heavy, and I don't feel that a 2K game, whether it's football or basketball, has ever had the optimal feel, the tight control over player. I just don't think that 2K does that. It's still not terrible, but there are still situations where it just doesn't feel quite right. It kind of feels like, you know how, like, Rockstar games, like Red Dead. Red Dead, you know, the characters have a lot of weight to them. Animations are, like, the top priority over, like, control. And 2K is owned by Take-Two, so I'm not surprised that there's a similarity there in the feel. Like, as much as a good of a game that, you know, Red Dead is, like, a game like Call of Duty feels 100 times more fluid. Yeah, I could see the Giants starting and drafting Dwayne Haskins, but it just feels like they're still very committed to Eli Manning. Cameron, I might do more podcast stuff in the future, whether it be going on some other podcasts or doing my own. Not really interested in that side of things right now. Got a lot to do and stuff, so maybe in the future. I've always thought it'd be fun to have kind of a sports podcast, but I just don't have the time to do it right now the way I'd want to. But I think one day I'll be able to fit it. We'll see. Quit out and restart the scrimmage. Your players are tired and have bad ratings. I wasn't sure if they even had stamina in scrimmage. Maybe it's freestyle or something they don't. Good call, though. Maybe I'll do practice plays over scrimmage. Favorite mid-tier free agent? I would say Tyrell Williams. I think that he peaked a couple of years ago in terms of his production, but he's on the same team as Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, Mike Williams, and they run the ball well and throw it to their backs a ton. So I don't really worry about his production falling off the last 2 seasons. I see a very talented height, weight, speed, more so a height speed guy. And I think that Tyrell could be a big boost for someone wanting a downfield threat. Why would Teddy want to re-sign with the Saints? I think because he sees the type of team they have, the way they handle their business, and that being the best way for him to have long-term success. It's interesting that he decided to decided to not go to Miami. I think they offered, but I think that he just sees the Saints as a great place for him to eventually be a high-level quarterback. And I would have to agree. Tyrell Williams to Cleveland? Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure if I would expect that. It would help fill in that void from Josh Gordon leaving. The Browns for cap space still have $70 million. That's not including the moves they've made so far and acquiring Vernon and stuff, so we'll have to see about that. Which big contract will be a bad one in 2 years? That's a fun game to play. I can see the Zadarius Smith being one of them. It might just be more of a production and salary not lining up. Like, I don't think he'll just be like a bad player, but maybe he won't live up to the contract numbers. That's what you see a lot in free agency. And most of these guys, you know, you pay for future production, not past. So there's a lot of projecting going on. So you're taking players who maybe were, you know, pretty good with their last team, and they're like, you're going to come here. You're going to play your best football yet, although it's going to be in a brand new environment, brand new teammates, brand new scheme. And you can, you know, connect the dots quite easily to see why so many of these fail. Earl Thomas to San Francisco with Sherman. That'd be really fun. Is there much talk about Thomas? I feel like I haven't seen his name on my feed in a few days. So no news has really gone down since I began streaming. See, the Anthony Barr stuff made me excited to stream. I'm like, maybe we'll get to talk about some stuff live, and nothing has happened. Where was my shot meter on that? Why is my shot meter gone? Just knocking everything down with Frederick Wilcox. This is kind of a cool play. I'll have to learn what some of these plays are, so when I'm trying to call them in game, I'm like, oh, that is the play with the double pick action. for the double screen action. I don't know any of the terminology. I don't know what Fist 98X means or whatever it is. What is it? Fist 92 side. But if I learn at least, I think I can start small. If I just learn like 3 to 5 plays, that'll give me a starting point for doing, you know, a little bit better. You know, like this is an easy one here. I can get myself a potential open shot with a nice 3-ball shooter. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Adam Humphries than Cole Beasley, especially given the age. So I'm not sure if these deals are going to work out for Buffalo, but they have to try. But I don't think they've made the impact move that would really make the big difference yet. Will Odell be traded? I still want to say no until there's a little more smoke to this. I just can't see him doing it. That'd be ridiculous. On that play, Wilcox is also getting open. Is he? I'm not really looking his way at all. I suppose it's possible. I'm not trying. I'm trying to hit X to like continue, not actually pass it. So what happens if I try to drive off this play then? I can maybe get a path, but I just end up running into a guy about 7 inches taller. So not sure that's the move. What if I try it like this? I do one of these, and then I say cut to the basket, give him the ball, bang. I'll make that shot a few times. How important would you say it is for me to just get a few plays that I know? I think it can make a nice difference. I also gotta just work on my release timing here. The meter is pretty tiny, so it's like getting excellent for me right now is like a little tough. But I like this play so far. I'm gonna write this one down as one that I like a lot. That is Fist 92 side. That is the double pick action. Let me write that down. And I think it's also important about like where I am on the floor when I call these plays. Yep, got to catch up on super chats now. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, someone just linked me on Twitter to the terminology here. Fist is pick and roll. Punch. Okay, thank you. I did not know this, but now I do. Awesome. Shout out to you, Cal. Leo, do you have any updates on the college basketball Kalispell series or the new Madden series? For the Kalispell series, we're gonna kick off or tip off this weekend. I'm targeting Saturday as the first stream. So it's gonna be a live stream series. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I will say now that we know Thomas Roberts is going to be a part of it. And I also think that I should include Trey Walker because he has the size and he's redshirted right now in the football version of Kalispell. So I think getting Thomas Roberts and Trey Walker would make sense. And then maybe Blackjack, who has stopped in today. What's going on, Blackjack? Maybe you can help me out with the court and uniform customization on Kalispell in 2K8 before I get things going. So let me know if you have a free morning anytime this week before Saturday. And Jay the Master. Here's a tip that I think could help. Use pick and pops and pick and rolls. They are a main way to score. Also, what are your opinions on the Titans? Hope we perform better this coming season. Yeah, I probably underutilized the pick and roll quite a bit. And when I do utilize it, it's a little too much turnover action on my part. As far as the Titans, saw they re-signed Vaccaro. I like some of the stuff they're doing there, but I think kind of Mariota's, though, I'm not sure the term right now, but he's the one that'll decide their fate. I feel that Mariota has not been good enough for them, and their pass game has kind of suffered. I thought he'd be better at this stage of his career, but they're not into a tough spot yet where they've given him big money and they've, you know, basically committed no matter what happens. But it could get to that point. I think that they're a good running team. They can still build an offense primarily around that. Corey Davis is a stud. I would just hopefully expect better play out of Mariota. Get a couple more pieces on defense, maybe. Let me check out Titans on Over the Cap. Just see what their situation's looking like. Maybe I can find them a nice fit. This time of year, always we see Over the Cap like go down half the time because everybody's on it. Titans, very good cap situation. They have very little in dead money. So they have a chance to go make a move. I wonder. Yeah. I wonder if they would have any interest in going after someone like Justin Houston in a trade. I wouldn't say it's like a definite need. They have Morgan, they have Harold Landry. I'm a big Landry guy, but always could use a pass rusher. That'd be a fun move. Otherwise, you know, this is a good team. It's not a bad team at all. I like this roster a lot. You know, if I was the Titans right now, I'd also get into the mix for Tyrell Williams. I think that Corey Davis, he's for sure a guy you can count on, but you just got to build some more depth there. And I think that they lack that dominant speed guy. Not sure if Taywan Taylor can be that guy. Sharp doesn't have those kind of wheels. I think that Tyrell would be a great fit there. Like, he's a 6'4" guy that runs fast. He's a fit everywhere. But, you know, Taywan Taylor as your number 2, number 3. I think you can do a little bit better. Yeah, Tyrell can't go to every team. He's going to sign soon. I'm going to have to move on to a new guy. Dream pick for the Vikings in the draft? Well, is there such thing as an offensive lineman dream pick when it's not like an Orlando Pace prospect? I think the dream for the Vikings is they can land 2 high-quality offensive linemen, whether it be, you know, a combination of like Cody Ford and then getting someone like Dalton Risner, or, you know, any combination of those top maybe 3-4 interior linemen or a tackle. I don't think there's a dream single pick. I think there's a dream double up. I don't think the Eagles should trade for Jordan Howard. No, I don't think that's necessary. I feel that their offensive line is mostly good, but they didn't run very efficiently last year. They had 3.9 yards per carry. So, you know, Howard's a good player, but I'm like, just keep Ajayi or draft somebody. I don't think that Howard is so good that you have to take him over a rookie necessarily. I'm seeing a lot of, you know, questions about teams I've already talked about. I'll just do a quick recap. I think the Packers have done a really good job. I did like the Broncos getting Jawan James. I think the Bills overpaid a bit for the receivers. I think San Francisco overpaid for Quan Alexander, but it's not really a big deal. Landon Collins to Washington. That's really big money. I don't think that it's going to be a huge difference maker until they solidify quarterback and get that figured out. You know, teams with quarterback troubles don't all of a sudden become good because of a safety. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I do listen to Score North, actually. I've been listening to their Twins podcasts. You know, I don't think I've missed one in a while. I listened to like 2 hours of them in the San Diego airport. Scared of the Bears and their chances of landing Bell? Actually, yes. But the Vikings, in keeping Anthony Barr, gave the Jets an open window to take Le'Veon Bell, which is like possibly a double good move for the Vikings. Any updates on the Madden series? Oh yeah, that was asked about earlier. I don't really have an update, especially with the new fall forward bug. I mean, I wasn't liking the patches already. I don't have the newest Madden patches, but I'm just on a different bad patch. So until they get the gameplay right, no update from me yet. The Malik Jackson deal. I think it's a fair number. 30 over 3 isn't ridiculous for an interior pass rusher. The Eagles like to rotate guys. They want to be deep as possible there. Not a bad move for them. Jackson didn't live up to the huge money in Jacksonville, but he's worth this. Did you want the Vikings to get Trent Brown? He wasn't really on my radar, and especially because they like more agile offensive linemen, and Brown is really a stout power guy. So I didn't think that he was ever going to be someone they'd target. Sheldon Richardson, maybe a bit of an overpay. I think Richardson's a good player, but he hasn't really been great in a while. He'll give you some rush, though. I just think the Browns paid a little more than they should have for it. Who makes a Pro Bowl first? Josh Allen quarterback or Josh Allen edge? Josh Allen edge, for sure. LaMarcus Joyner to Raiders. Did that happen yesterday? I feel like that happened yesterday. And yeah, their secondary has been atrocious for a long time, so that makes sense. Although Joyner once knocked Teddy Bridgewater out of a game, I haven't forgot that. Let's switch up the music. What do I want to do? Real talk, what if the Raiders got Kyler Murray and Bell? Everybody would watch. That's real talk. Everybody would watch the Raiders. Antonio, Le'Veon, Kyler, highest paid offensive lineman now in the league. They'd have some buzz. Thoughts on Witten coming out of retirement? I guess I was surprised by it. I mean, he's not going to put up huge numbers, but he's a smart tight end. He's not going to really create separation with, you know, speed or anything, but he knows how to sit in zones. He knows how to find openings. He's been a good route runner, even if his routes aren't the fastest. So he can still catch a lot of balls and make some first downs. But I hope that he doesn't take too much attention away from Amari Cooper, which is where the ball should be going when they're throwing. I did like Thomas Davis to the Chargers. I think at this stage of his career, being an inside linebacker and a 3-4 is probably a really good fit. He can still run a decent bit too, and they needed a coverage guy. So I like that for them. They were playing a lot of defensive backs, you know, in that role. So now they got a linebacker to do it. Who do I have winning the AFC North? Browns, and it might be by multiple games at this stage. Do I think Justin Coleman is worth the price? He may be on the top page slot corner, right? I don't think I was a big fan of the pricing on him. He's a solid nickel corner. I don't think he's worth the top dollar. But he is a good player. You know, this is kind of the story of free agency. He's a good player, but they paid too much for him. You know, the market changes every year. The cap goes up every year. The highest contracts are going to go up every year. It's the same song and dance until something breaks the cycle. This year's franchise mode in Madden the worst? No, I don't think it's the worst. I think it's better than last year. It's just the gameplay keeps you from enjoying it at all. The gameplay is not very good. Is Funchess worth that much? No. It's a prove it 1 year deal. What kind of money do you think Bryce Callahan will get? Potentially topping Justin Coleman. No moves have happened during this stream. I'm just trying to hang out and talk about news happening, and how come Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter are breaking news when I'm trying to sleep, and now I'm wide awake and they got nothing to say? The Packers did not get Le'Veon Bell, and I don't think they will. Aaron Jones is more than sufficient as their top running back. He's very good. As soon as you stop streaming, they'll start happening again. That's how it goes. But I plan to do this again tomorrow, when stuff can start becoming official, and then there'll be some more stuff to talk about. I'm not quite done yet, though. What time is it? 2:15. Yeah, I might not stream a whole lot longer. Maybe another 15 minutes tops. Kareem Jackson thoughts? Solid player. Nothing special at this stage. Feels like Kareem Jackson's been around for literally ever. Looking at Jackson last year, he did not allow a single touchdown in coverage, apparently. Okay. That's pretty standout, then. Oh, Jackson really was a career Texan, huh? For some reason, I thought he bounced around a little bit. Do I think Seattle will push to sign a big name? What do they got for cap space? Seattle has $32 million, so they could. If I were them chasing a big name, what could the Seahawks use? They were able to get their offensive line to play a lot better last season, but I think I'd still want to maybe get an upgrade there. If they could make Saffold fit, that'd be a good move. I haven't seen any talk about Roger Saffold. I could also see them making a trade for Trey Waynes, because they always end up with the Viking players one way or another. They had Shamar Stephen and Tom Johnson last year, and both are back in Minnesota now. Well, Johnson's technically a free agent. I think the Vikings would still want to bring him back potentially. Yeah, Barr is making the same money per year as Quan Alexander, so that to me would say Barr is likely going to stay in the same role. Maybe it'll change somewhat. The trade you accepted in your 2K series resulted in a cap hit and you gave them a second-round pick. Yeah. They made the trade menu really confusing. I don't know. I'll have to look at it again and be like, okay, here's where I went wrong. Thank you for the super chat, HJ. Preston and Zadarius Smith. Threat to Vikings O-line. They didn't need those two to get pressure on the Vikings, I'll tell you that much. Saints offered Ingram $4 million per season. What is he getting from the Ravens? It can't be much more than 4. I mean, the running back market sucks if you're not Le'Veon Bell or a top-end guy. It's one of the most thankless jobs in sports to be a running back unless you're one of the top 5. And you're a true game changer. I'm really surprised the Vikings kept Barr, though. I thought he was for sure going to go somewhere. It's already been reported that he took less to stay in Minnesota. So the Jets offered more. You think your O-line is bad? You guys had 10 sacks on Stafford. Sure did. That was a fun game for me, at least. 2-year deal, Giants, Antoine Bethea. All right. $8 million a year for Ingram. Wow. That's a lot larger than I would have expected. I would have said maybe 5-6. Welcome to free agency, though. Let's see what the money per year on running backs looks like around the league. You think Pittsburgh might get Tyrell Williams? You know what, Freedom? Everybody could use Tyrell Williams. Why not Pittsburgh? I love it. Average money per year. If Ingram gets 8, that puts him at number 6 in the NFL, right behind Devontae Freeman and LaShawn McCoy. So it's not like a huge shock, but it's still a light whoa, if that's it. CJ Mosley overpaid 17 per year. Luke only getting 12. That's what happens when you sign a few years ago. The cap goes up by 10% every year or whatever. And then the next guys get paid more. It's just the natural market progression. And the best players don't always get the best money. It's all about timing in the market. Moses is a really good player, though. Thoughts on a potential Odell Beckham trade? I don't think it's going to happen. I'll be surprised until it does. The Eagles moves, every year they upgrade their defensive line somehow. Well, this year they moved Michael Bennett and then brought in Malik Jackson. Different positions, obviously, although Bennett can play inside and does very well. I like that move for them. I love Djax going back to Philly. Is there anything else I'm missing from them? I know they lost Jordan Hicks. Where's Hicks playing now? Jordan Hicks. Oh, yeah, the Cardinals. After all that investing they did with Deion Buchanan, moving him to linebacker, getting Hassan Reddick, they just go back to free agency to figure it out. A new MLB series with 19 releases. I'm going to continue the Twins, and I think I'm just doing enough content right now where I don't need to do more on MLB. I just don't see how it fits into the second channel, and I have my big series on the main channel, so I'm happy with that. Buchanan or Mark Barron to Pittsburgh. I think they'll address linebacker at some point, but I'm not sure if Buchanan or Barron would be wise to go after. I don't think either is all that good. So Fist is always a pick and roll play. Hey, we got Jay Crowder open here on the mid-range. Look at that. I need to run more plays. These plays are money. Of course, the defense is exactly, you know, where they need to be here, and everything is perfect. Who knew? All you gotta do to get some points here is call a good play and run it with a good player. How come sometimes the meter is not showing up? The Steelers, who should they sign? What if they went after someone like Tyler Eifert? Someone's going to give Tyler Eifert a big money, low guarantee deal because if healthy, Tyler Eifert's an extremely good tight end. And, you know, with losing Antonio Brown, you could go about the situation trying to replace him directly with a receiver, or maybe you go get a game-changing tight end and throw something new at other teams. That'd be a cool move. Vance McDonald is going to be their guy, but Vance isn't Eifert. Vance McDonald did have a good production last season. I'm still on Team Eifert. Let me take a look at some other free agents that are available. There's probably some that I haven't thought about lately because they're not getting any buzz. Where do you want / think Bell will end up? I would think, well, I want him to end up in Oakland. I think that'd be fun. Where do I think he'll end up? The Jets. So here are some players that are available. Ndamukong Suh. You know, he's going to go somewhere. Jamie Collins. Not sure if he's the same player anymore, but someone might try to find out if he is. Timmy Jernigan. Randall Cobb, you know, is a complimentary wideout. Would not be bad. Earl Thomas. Dante Moncrief. TJ Lang. Pierre Garcon. Cameron Wake. Some of these guys may have been re-signed and it's not updated yet, so just keep that in mind. Morris Claiborne, Tavon Austin, Darian Stewart, KJ Wright. Ooh, KJ Wright. Is he really available? You know, KJ Wright wouldn't be a bad target for the Eagles after losing Jordan Hicks. Glover Quinn, Roger Saffold, Golden Tate. Golden Tate would be an amazing Patriot, by the way. If they make that move, the NFL's so dumb for letting it happen. Jared Cook, coming off a good season. John Sullivan, veteran center. Austin Safarian Jenkins again. Muhammad Wilkerson. Pierre Garcon is going back to the Colts. Is there any talk about that? Garcon, I know he's been hurt recently. If he's still Garcon, he became a really complete receiver, not just a deep threat. Who's going to take a shot on Kevin White? Someone's going to. Terrence Williams, Cordero Patterson, Aaron Lynch. He was quietly in Chicago last season. Had 3 sacks and 16 tackles last year. Ryan Fitzpatrick's got to go somewhere. Weren't there rumors of Sue to the Vikings? I don't recall any. All right, what does high mean? In this context, at least. I'm not seeing it here on this guide. Huh. Well, let's find out. What do the numbers mean, by the way? Gotta relate to the positions of some sort. So he's gonna set a pick, and then he's gonna get the ball, and he's gonna put it in the basket. That's a good play. If I can just learn the terminology, because I'm not gonna be able to learn every individual play, but if I just learn what the terms mean. Looks like that guide had most of them. Oops. I want to try this play again. See, I want to see if the pick and roll, if I can do it better if I, whoops. If I throw overhead passes. So triangle, I think, is overhead, but I'm running that way, so of course the stick is pointed at Brogdon. There's so many controls in this game. I'll get there. Throw an alley-oop instead. Double tap triangle. It didn't work there. One more time. Hey. We may have a play here. We may have a play. Give me that. Oh, man. It's all about how that center reacts. Or is it the forward? Okay, it's not gonna work every time though. We'll work on our alley-oop game. We haven't done that yet. You just saw my first alley-oop in 2K19. There we go. Alright, what else we got here? Wilcox. He can run like 48 million plays. Quick 3 horns flex. Don't know what any of that means yet. So he's going to run a circle. That's not how the play is supposed to be run, I'm assuming. Alright, so he's gonna run that way, but not get open. And then I'm going, oh, there was more to the play. It's a very advanced play, apparently. So Wilcox is gonna run. Deadman's gonna be here to set the pick. And then a bunch of stuff is happening and it doesn't make any sense. That's the play. If you're gonna make the block, make the block. Demo the play? Oh, that's a novel concept. How is it supposed to look? Pass it to him. Oh. And then out here. Get another one. They're defending it pretty well, though, so we didn't get an open shot or any sort of great look. Let's watch it again. Now they pass it right away. That's not how it's supposed to be done. That works, though. It's kind of helpful to see how it's supposed to be run. Alright, everybody. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. It's been a fun stream, but I am going to do a little bit of Cardinals recording now, and that is going to do it for me today. Thank you all for joining the stream today. I'd love to do this more. So if you want to see more of this, you know, leave a like on the video. Those are always much appreciated. You can leave your feedback in the comments if you like after the stream ends here. Unfortunately, streaming for an hour and a half, no major news has happened since the Anthony Barr switcheroony. So that's it for today, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow, though. I plan to stream about a half hour before free agency begins, and then we'll let the floodgates unfold. We'll say Happy New Year, and we'll see what happens in the world of football. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please smash that like button. I appreciate all of you spending some time with me. I'll see you all again soon. Have a great day. Oh, Jordan sent a super chat. Hi, Kane. Just joined. What topics did I miss? I talked about a variety of different signings and teams. I guess to recap, the Anthony Barr situation is really strange. The way he's, you know, turned on the Jets. The Packers have done a good job. I want to see Le'Veon go to the Raiders to team up with Antonio Brown. Hope that's a sufficient recap. Just a lot of small talk, really nothing too huge. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you later.